Hello and welcome to episode 24 of DataCube's free online training. This is our third episode in our Tableau mini-series, and we're talking about filtering, colouring, labelling, little right-click tricks and tips. So it's kind of an advancement on the first two episodes we've done, or first three episodes we've done on Tableau. So tune in, we're going to head into Tableau right now. So just picking up where we left off last week, this was the third sheet that we made, and it was just a quite simple one. So we're looking at overall rank, so this is that happiness score. So the lower the number, the higher the rank. Split by country and then coloured by the health life expectancy. So here we use a sort of mix of different fields to really see how it affected the chart and how the data. So Singapore's at the top here, and it's not because it's the most well-ranked country overall, but it had the highest life expectancy scores, and that was kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is just start from scratch on this and say, okay, here are all our countries. This is split by rank. What can we do? What can we do to make this chart more interesting, or how can we filter this down, and ways of doing that. So I'm going to start with the filter pane. So you don't have to just filter by fields that you're using, such as rank or region, although that might be something that we might want to do. So for example, we might say we are only interested in to start off with, in the sort of top 50 countries in terms of overall rank. And I'm just going to clear the sort on this because it's still sorted how it was before. So this is now automatically gone to alphabetical order, those top 50 countries by overall rank. So it's quite useful here just for me to sort this by the overall rank field, and let's go ascending. So Finland, Denmark at top, they're the ones that scored best. But we might want to filter down on something like healthy life expectancy. And we may just be interested in, say, certain scores, so maybe over 1. And now that's filtered down to this list here. So we've got the overall rank, but it's also those with the healthy life expectancy above 1. You might be interested in just certain generosity scores. So in this case, top one is 0.56. So maybe you're interested in anything over 0.25. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, we filtered down again. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we've got a kind of top 9 here. So Singapore, for example, is in the top 50, has that score over 1 for life expectancy and score over 0.25 for generosity. So just say, for example, you're using this as a filter down of places you'd want to live. You might have this as your sort of category, your filter, your category. Like that's these other filters you would say I apply that I'd want to live in one of these areas. So we've got a top 9. So next we can do something with these mark boxes. Now this is automatically set to bar chart. You can change this to a line, an area chart. These don't really make sense so much for these categorical variables because they're not continuous. So I'm going to leave this as a bar chart for now, but that's what that marks does there. It changes it to anything you want it to be. Some of them won't make sense for this type of data. So you might then want to put another field in. So say freedom to make life changes, so we can see the scores for each of those countries. So instead of having filtering it down to everything, there might be other factors. So overall rank, freedom to make life choices might be something you want to see side by side as these sort of facets. And something like social support might be important to you, so you could put that as a third one. Now you can see here we could sort by one of these other variables if that was something of interest to you. Now what you can do is use these marks as all, or you can see here how we can split out by the 3 measure pills that we've popped in the columns here. So you can colour, say for example, if you wanted to colour overall rank, it'll do that for you here on that colour. Or if you just wanted to do that for the overall rank pill, then you could just add it into that one there, and the other ones go grey. So you may want to colour the second facet, freedom to make life choices, by something like the overall rank, which would match the first facet. Or you may want to do it something completely different, such as generosity score. So super generous in the dark, not so generous in the light, or perhaps the actual field, so freedom to make life choices. So for now, let's just colour by the field itself. So it's social support. And then on these you could change the gradient or the colour. So for example, social support, you might want to be variations of red. Freedom, you may want to choose, say, variations of let's say orange. It's a bit too close perhaps, maybe purple. This is going to look a bit weird. And then leave that as blue for overall rank. Next up you've got, you can choose size. So just say for example for this one, we could choose overall rank as the size. So, and then you may want to kind of choose how that works. But in this case, rank is better when it's lower number. So using that overall rank field is probably not as good as using the total score. So we use a score like that, we can make it a bit smaller. So now the bigger ones are at the top. You might want to label these by the fields. So you can click on show mark labels, and that will give each of the scores. You can change the text for these, change the font size, the alignment. You can choose just to have mins and maxes, so it just tells you the highest and the lowest. Or you could select some, press selected, highlighted. So for now, let's put them on all. And you'll notice some of them are less formatted than others. So that's interesting. So what you can do on here is there is also right-click functionality in Tableau. So if I can just go to standard on here and then just drag this down. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to right-click, and we get some extra options here. First, we can view the data. So that's like a little table of just the data that we've filtered. If you wanted to export that, you can export that there. Or all the data is available at the bottom here. The next one in the list was to copy that, as cross we had data or an image, but the one I'm looking for right now is format. So format comes up here, and straight away we have different options. So font, alignment, shading, borders, lines. You can change all these sort of things in your sheet, and this can affect sheets, rows or columns. And then we have defaults by panes, tooltips, whatever it might be. So for example, if I wanted to change freedom to make life choices, I can click on the fields, click on this one. I'm not really interested in having so many decimal points. So I'm going to click on number, custom, and just bring these down a bit. And I've clicked on scale there, but that's for the axes. So that's affecting how many decimal points we have on the axes there. And I can click on pane here and do the same thing. So I've just brought it down to 0.1, it's probably too granular, too broad, sorry, and then 0.2 probably feels about right. So I'm going to do the same for social support. And on the pane, I'm going to move that also down to 2 decimal points. So it's a bit easier. If I go to 1, it's probably a bit too broad. Most of them score pretty similarly, so it's harder to sort of make a decision. And I can just click off there, press the cross if I'm happy with that. Now, next thing on the right click is clear manual sizing, so that will affect that drag that I did. So if you go to the bottom, you can drag that up or down. Other useful right clicks are the annotate, so you can annotate a point. So for example, if you wanted to put a formula in and have that shown on your visual, so for example sum of overall rank, you can just put that there and it will give you a sum of overall rank. This one's not particularly useful here, so I'm just going to delete that. And also on annotate, you can annotate the area, and that's just say for example annotation goes here, which you can then format, and that will just be almost like a text box that you may be used to from other software, and you can just sort of move that around. You can edit it or format it or remove that like that. What's useful as well, if you right click on an actual data point, you can do these sort of mark types, like that one could be, you can change them to different types, which is from the sort of that marks pane, but you can select it just for these. You can change the mark label, so I don't want to ever show New Zealand there, for example, the 8, or I can undo that. Annotations, as we saw before, trend lines, you can add trend lines. This won't be available with this chart type here, and it's another way of sort of filtering, so you could only keep New Zealand like that, or you may want to exclude New Zealand but not have to go through this filters, and see here it automatically creates you a filter there where it's crossed out New Zealand. So I can just drag this into anywhere and that will remove that back again. So that's kind of formatting. Other things you might want to think about is the actual design, so things like, do I want this title here? I can hide that. Do I actually need these chart axes now I've got labels? Probably not, although you may want to keep that overall rank, so you can edit the axes by clicking on here. You could remove the title by just deleting it. You can change the title, you can change the scale, such as reversing it. You can change the range, so if you fix that and put it to 10, then you wouldn't see Singapore, for example. You can edit the tick marks here as well. You can also right click on these and actually get rid of the show header completely, like that. So sometimes I remember back in the day not being able to remember how to get that back, so if you don't want to undo it, you can click on these and it show header is on here as well, and it's the same with these ones as well, so if you show the header on there, which is quite useful. Yeah, mark types, you can change them from bars to squares, formats, show the header, add a reference line, for example like these, which we're going to go into in a bit more detail in further episodes. But anyway, I hope that was a good way of sort of displaying how you can use multiple pills, lots of pills in different places, columns, rows, filters. You can edit those different marks within different sections of the marks pane. So we mainly looked at colour, size and label. We're going to look at details and tooltips in a bit more detail in future episodes. It's a good way of playing with the data to show how you can sort of view it in different ways across the same categories, using these facet charts and just formatting sort of basics. So I hope that was really useful. More episodes to come, so make sure you tune in to those next week. Thank you very much.